Well, we've been waltzing around the India Mobile Congress here in New Delhi, and I've come across some very interesting things at the Airtel booth. And I have with me a fellow tech geek, Kaustav Chandra from Airtel. Kaustav, nice to have you on the show.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Kaustav, look, there's a lot of interesting things happening in terms of the use cases of 5G. But now this is where it really gets real, because if in a country like India, we can come up with 5G ambulances, it can literally save lives.
Absolutely, Aayush. Before I really talk about this, I just want to, take a step back and tell you, as Airtel, what we've been doing, right? So as Airtel, we have been working on different use cases, different problem-solving, scenarios, which we thought that, once we have 5G live, how can we really solve real-world problems? And this is one such example wherein what we did is we actually collaborated with Apollo Hospital and Cisco. And we said that, how can we really help do something different in the healthcare space?
Right.
And one of the key challenge or key problem which we've seen from our research and, from holistic research is that when the patient, for example, for all the severe injuries and all, right, the moment it takes, given the whole traffic scenario in India today, it takes 60 minutes, approximately 40 to 60 minutes for that ambulance to really reach the hospital. And that is called the golden hour, right? The golden hour is where we have to, treat the patient or provide the, necessary, treatment at the beginning itself, so that by the time patient reaches the hospital, you have at least all the, challenges are being taken care of while on the move, right? So that's how this entire use cases came to life, right? We have tested this, with Apollo, like I mentioned, in couple of cities, and it has been, it has worked really well for us.
Right.
So what happens is, for example, if there's an injury for someone, the moment the patient is here on this stretcher here in the ambulance, he gets connected. Immediately he gets, transmitted to a set of doctors who are sitting in Apollo Hospital somewhere.
Right.
And that very moment, the doctors will start treating the patient. All the, as you can see, all the different machineries here, they are, to make sure that all the, required, vital statistics of the patients are also transmitting to the doctors there. There is a camera which from where the doctor, the remote doctor can see the patient and then, instruct the paramedic to actually perform the, required, things.
Interesting.
And this is again, 10% of the deaths really happens during the transit.
Right.
And if this goes mass, so you can imagine, how many lives are you going to save?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And there's several consumer cases that everyone keeps talking about as use cases, but on the enterprise side as well, there seem to be things that a lot of the telcos, and from telcos to techcos, a lot of your companies are managing to do. Let's go to the next booth and figure other things out there. But Casey, there's all sorts of use cases, like I was saying, on the enterprise side. But what seems interesting about it is the visual demonstration of what you can do. When you're talking about drones, everyone seems to be really happy because they're really cool. Tech geeks seem to love it as well. But this drone seems to have a use case that, well, can be very effective.
No, absolutely. And let me just give you a quick brief of this. So this use case, again, like I said, it was all about, for Airtel, it was all about solving real life problems, right? One of the real life problems which are happening, and especially in the industrial side, is that, with the way e-commerce has grown in India, right? Today, it's all about that, right? Hardly people, go out and shop. Everything is happening in e-commerce, right? Which also means that you're talking about large warehouses, right? Really large warehouses. Now, the problem which has happened there are three key problems. One is the whole inventory management and making sure the safety of the inventory. Second is really the the whole surveillance and security, right? Safety from a point of view, the people who are in the warehouse, because just imagine you're a large warehouse and you are asking few guys to go and keep checking in the inventory, and warehouses are like of this nature. Massive, right? And that's where we actually came up with this use case along with Ericsson. And what it does is, for example, it is difficult for a person to really climb up, climb down, and all. This takes care of all of that.
Right.
It goes in. This will scan that barcode which you're seeing. It immediately throws it to the system where it gets the whole inventory gets recorded. The management is happening, and they know exactly how much is there, and etc. etc. And then from there, this also makes sure the security, and it also acts as a surveillance, right? So for example, you can't have 20, 30 security, physical security to be there, and this is where you can actually manage with the drones to make sure that the place is secure. And the third part is the safety, right? You actually end up, avoiding a lot of accidents as well, because you're not making the guys to go up and down, and this really does that. So I think this was again one of the other real life problems which we are trying to solve.
Is this something that would be quite useful, especially for companies who will be deploying a private 5G network, so to speak?
Yes. For example, let's say there is a large conglomerate, right, who has got a lot of large warehouses, right, where it is difficult to really and there is a problem of connectivity, right? We can actually create a private network, and then on that network, on that 5G network, you can actually provide the whole connectivity piece, and because again it's a SIM-based drone, right? Without that you can't really fly it, and then without that you cannot get all the data in, right? So that's where the private network really comes in the picture, and that can be done easily.
Casey, what's interesting is when everyone talks about the metaverse nowadays, 5G is the real enabler for the metaverse. Low latency networks, us being in location A, location B, and all meeting in the metaverse. But even on the enterprise side, it can really change things for a connected workforce.
Yeah.
Is this a pipe dream, or can this be a reality?
Oh, this is already a reality, Aayush. For example, connected workforce, right? The way, again, I've been talking about the solving real life problems, right? This is as real as it can be, right?
Okay.
Why? Because when you're in a mining industry, or you're in a industry which requires you to go to remote places within, right, where you cannot take big machineries, you cannot take 3-4 people, and this is really where this comes to life, right? You actually literally saving instead of trying to figure it out, you have just one person, right? So let's say if there's a space of just one person, especially in a mining use case, right? You have this device which you see here, right? A person need to just wear it, go in, it gets connected to a remote team which is sitting wherever in the world, and they can literally live telecast it, and the person sitting remotely can guide this person, right, who's on the in that place, to really fix the problem.
Interesting,
right? And this is real life. Right? This is happening today. This is already happening.
Fascinating. Casey, I think it's been a good tour of the Airtel booth here at India Mobile Congress. But these were our top 3 demonstrations at the Airtel booth. There's a lot more coming from the India Mobile Congress. Thanks so much for speaking to us.
Thank you, sir.
And thanks so much for watching.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.